Hi class, today we'll be factorising some quadratic expressions. The catch here is this method only works for certain types of problems. This is where we've got an x squared bit with no number in front. If there's a number in front, we do that a little bit differently. They've got an x term, probably, they don't have to have a number bit here, and they've got a number bit at the end. So there's definitely going to be an x squared with no number in front, a number on the end, and maybe an x bit in the middle. I'll come on to that a little bit more with a later example. Now, in order to factorise these, what we're going to do is turn this sort of thing back into a pair of double brackets. So our answer is going to be an x and an x with two other numbery bits. We've got to worry about the pluses and minuses and the numbery bits. In order to work those out, I want you to try and think of two things. We want a pair of numbers that multiply to make the number on the end, and that add up to make the number in front of the x bit. Now there are loads and loads of possible combinations of numbers that could do each of those individually, but there's only one unique pair of numbers that will multiply to make this bit and add up to make that bit. Best way to do it is think about whole numbers only, think about all the pairs of numbers that multiply to make 12, and do any of those pairs add up to make 7. So with 12 you've got 1 and 12, that wouldn't work. 6 and 2 wouldn't work, or 3 and 4. 3 times 4 makes 12, and 3 add 4 makes 7. So I know that my factorised expression is going to be x plus 3, x plus 4. If I write x plus 4, x plus 3 instead, that means the same thing, so that's still okay, it's still a correct answer. And if we were to expand this double bracket by doing x times x, x times 4, 3 times x, 3 times 4, and simplify it down, we would end up with this quadratic expression. So that's factorising quadratics. Let's try a second one. We've got x squared, add 6x, add 5. So looking for a pair of numbers that multiply to make 5, and that add up to make 6. Now luckily, not a lot of pair of numbers. They're whole numbers only, that multiply make 5. The only pair that makes 5 is 1 times 5, and 1 add 5 makes 6. So our answer is x add 1, x add 5. And again, if you wrote x add 5, x add 1, that'd be the same thing, it'd still be okay. Works the same on these later ones, but we've got to watch out for some of the negatives that can make things a little bit more confusing. Here we've got a pair of numbers, they multiply to make 8, but they add up to make minus 6. Now you might be starting to think about your pairs of numbers that multiply to make 8, and thinking, well, they're all positive, they'll all add up to something. So what we've got to do here is use negative numbers. If you remember, a pair of negative numbers, they multiply together to make a positive. So if we take two negative numbers, they're going to add up to something negative, but they're going to multiply to make something positive. Now if you think about how we did it before with adding and timesing, if we look for a pair of numbers that multiply to make 8, but add up to make just positive 6, well, we've got 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 add 2 is 6. But because we've got the minus 6 there, we're going to use x minus 2 and x minus 4. Because minus 4 times minus 2 makes the plus 8, and minus 2 take away another 4 makes the minus 6. So if you've got a negative in the middle, positive on the end, use a pair of negative numbers. Same for the one next to it. X squared minus 8x add 12. It's because we've got the minus 8x there, we're going to have two negative brackets. Think about the pairs that multiply to make 12, do any of them add up to 8? Well, we could use 6 and 2. So we'll have x minus 6 and x minus 2, because the minus 6 minus 2 makes minus 8, minus 6 times 2 makes the positive 12. A couple more examples. Third one and fourth one, well, fifth and sixth one. Here we've got negatives on the end, which again makes it a little bit more complicated. Here what we're going to end up with is one positive bit and one negative bit, because the positive times negative will create this negative bit on the end. What I like to do when I see them is look for a pair of numbers that multiplies to make the 15 still, but that has a difference of 2. So to make 15, 1 and 15, massive 14 difference, but 3 times 5 is 15, they have a difference of 2. Now if we think about that, we know we're going to have 1 plus and 1 minus, we know we've got a 3 and a 5, we need it so that we have a positive 2 at the end. So we're going to have 5 and minus 3, or we can have 3 and minus 5. Well, a 5 and minus 3 will leave us with a positive 2 left over, because 5 take away 3 is 2. But if we have a look at this one, whereas x squared minus 2x minus 15, there we're going to have a positive and a negative. And again, we've got the 15, we've got a difference of 2. Because we want to make a minus 2x there, we're going to have plus 3 and minus 5. Because 3 take away 5 makes a minus 2. But on that one, 5 take away 3 makes the plus 2. So you've got to think about the terms involved there. Two final ones, a little bit different, a little bit tricky. You might think, oh, there's only 2 bits. I'll just take what they've got in common out of the bracket. But this expression, x squared minus 9, is the same as saying x squared plus 0x minus 9. So remember, maths are a bit lazy. 0x, don't bother writing it. So we've got x squared plus 0x minus 9. So it's a bit like the ones we had before. They multiply to make minus 9, and they add up to make 0. Well, if a pair of numbers multiply and make a negative, we know we're going to have 1 plus and 1 minus bracket. And if they multiply to make minus 9 and add up to make 0, I can use 3 and minus 3. Because 3 times minus 3 makes minus 9. 3 take away 3 makes 0. They call these ones the difference of 2 squares. Because what you'll find is they'll usually have square numbers involved. So like the 9 and the 64 here. This last one, again like before, there's like an x term that's just 0. So we've got x squared plus 0x minus 64. They multiply to make minus 64. They add up to make 0. So we have the same number with a plus and a minus. And we've got, for 64, we can have plus 8 and minus 8. 8 times 8 is 64. And that's your lot. That's Factorising Quadratics. See you get on. Give me a shout if you're stuck. Cheers.